Good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode of High Top Sports. It is the best day of the week. It's Wednesdays, ladies and gentlemen. We have a jam-packed show, and I know that I say that every single week, but I'm telling you, this one is an absolutely jam-packed show. We have some special guests on, of course, today to give us all things recruiting insight and the recap of Florida versus the Gamecocks. We're going to talk a little bit about this bye week, what it means for the Florida Gators, how they plan to prepare for it. Beamer breaks his foot because he throws a fit. You guys already heard about it. We're going to talk about it. And FSU is preparing for Duke in a top 25 matchup. It's going to be a great show. But without further ado, let me go ahead and introduce one of the co-hosts for the evening, saying that 4'9", 245 pounds, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. David Swolderquist. What's going on, big dog? How you doing?
Hey, man, hump day, as I say, every week. And you know what? It's a bye week. We don't have to worry about stressing out about our team. We get to watch all these other teams beat the crap out of each other, have their friends, stressing out, their fans stressing out. And guess what? Next week is Georgia, and the hell with Georgia. Everybody at Heights up. Let's get it. Let's go.
Let's go, baby. I usually hate bye weeks, obviously, because it's just like a down week for Florida and you don't get to watch Florida football. But my goodness, I am so in need of this bye week to get rested up for what we have coming up in the back half of the season. But ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let's bring in our next guest of the evening, Mr. Hollywood, Connor Clark. What's going on, big dog? How you doing, man?
I'm looking for this guy you call Hollywood. I don't know what's going on.
Come on now.
What's going on, guys? It's always a pleasure to join you guys. I appreciate you always asking me to come talk a little bit about Florida football. So let's have a good time.
Absolutely, man. We love it when you're on here, and I know the fans love your take and your insight and everything. Let's get started, though. I want to get y'all's thoughts on this. I talked on Monday with Stephen Harris, but I do want to hear from you, too. Ever since, we had our connection at the Tennessee game, Connor, I always just kind of think, how is he reacting right now? I don't know if you saw my clip of me jumping around and screaming like a little girl on the couch during the game there. It was an intense one. It was a great one. But how are you reacting? What's your reaction, your thoughts on just the game in general and how he looked?
Yeah, so I think first and foremost, impressive performance offensively. Everybody was worried about Billy Napier and the style of offense that he runs and how it's not conducive to coming down from behind. Well, they proved that they can come from behind against not necessarily one of the greatest opponents, but you are at South Carolina, another SEC opponent, on the road. It was, as they like to call it, Cocktober. Big time environment for South Carolina out there. But yeah, man, I think all in all, a really good showing offensively. There's a lot to be desired on the defensive end. I do think Spencer Rattler is one of the better quarterbacks that they're going to see throughout the remainder of the season.
For sure.
Obviously, you still have somebody like Jaden McDaniels, who's a Heisman candidate. And then I think it's Brady Cook, who is the quarterback for Missouri. Probably the next two best quarterbacks that they're going to see until they see Jordan Travis at the end of the year for Florida State. But, man, the way they were able to come back from behind and win that game was really, I think, an encouraging thing for Florida fans. It showed that they have that kind of never give up mentality, never say die attitude. And I think the biggest thing that I take away was not necessarily just watching that game, but when they posted I know they like to play like the highlights or they do the trailer before the game and then the recap after the game. The energy that you saw in the locker room prior to the game, the energy you saw from Billy Napier and the coaches on the sideline during the game, and then, of course, after a big win was just different.
Sure.
You didn't see that same kind of energy specifically from Coach Napier throughout the entire season. He's a very even-keeled guy. He's not super emotional. But you saw that emotion come out of him before the game, stressing how big of a game this was, how important this game is, not just because it's an SEC game and it gets them to 5-2 heading into a bye week before Georgia, but because Billy Napier before this game was 1-7 on the road as a head coach at the University of Florida. So that now it looks like that gigantic gorilla is off of his back. They've proven they can go and win a road game in the SEC. Now they're going to have to do it a couple more times before the end of the season's over because you've got some big time road games coming up as well.
Absolutely. I think the biggest thing that excited me was the energy that we saw on the sidelines pre-game from Mertz ripping the towel around, and even Billy being hyped up and being able to carry it through the game. And like you said, it was a big grit win, which was a big W for the guys on the road. Dave, what do you think, man? How was it watching for you? I know you were kind of busy on Saturday, but exciting win for sure.
Yeah, man. I hang out in the Gators Breakdown Discord a lot, and Dave was telling me, he's like, "Man, I got a heart monitor on, and it's like 120 beats per minute." I mean, pretty much every Florida Gator fan watching that game was probably just above their toes. Yeah, just that's it. Yeah, this is the first game that Billy Napier has actually had in the obviously in the Billy Napier era where he's been down for more than 2 touchdowns. He's actually come back and he's won the game, and I think it was really cool that we're not running the ball on 3rd and 10 and 4th and 5 and things of that nature. We're actually passing the football to try to win the game, and also, man, we got a kicker, man, Trey Smack, field goals 48, 44, 28, 54, missed a 48-yarder because it was blocked, but I mean, if you go back, you watch the tape, that thing was probably going to go in there anyway if it doesn't get blocked. So at least we know we got a viable field goal kicker going forward as well. And I think the biggest thing from the game was getting good momentum. You needed that good momentum going into the bye week, into Jacksonville, because that's going to be your toughest game of the season, playing your rival, Georgia. And if you can make this thing a game in 2 weeks, maybe even beat them, well, I mean, we'll talk about that next week, but maybe if you can just make that a game, recruits are going to look and be like, hey, this team's getting better. I mean, this team has 11 freshmen playing on it right now. And right now they're a little bit banged up on defense. Of course, the defensive performance last week wasn't the greatest. They've been banged up. They're young too. But as Connor said, Spencer Rattler, man, he's been phenomenal this whole year for what he's had in his offensive line. He's been one of the best quarterbacks in the SEC. He's passed for 72%, I think, before the game, and he passed 313 yards. I mean, you've got to tip your hat to Spencer Rattler. You can't just sit here and say, well, our defense was bad because he passed for so many yards. You have to give him credit because he's been such a great quarterback in the SEC with what he's had. I mean, he's had a very, very terrible offensive line this whole year. He kind of if Kyle Trasked the thing from 2020, but of course he's not putting up those type of numbers, but he's been a viable quarterback for South Carolina. And I think South Carolina is going to sneak up and beat some of these teams that they don't think they're going to beat.
Yeah, they've had a tough schedule up until this point. I know a few people, we're going to get into it a little bit later on, we're kind of taking jabs at Florida of like just how you act when you beat a 2-win team. Like, well, let's take it easy. Their losses have come to Georgia undefeated, North Carolina undefeated, and Tennessee at home by a touchdown. So it's not like they're just getting beat by anybody. They're getting dragged by some of the top teams in the country. But all in all, it was a hell of a weekend. It was an exciting weekend, and I can't agree more. Just the momentum that it's going to go into rolling into this 2-week period, and the belief. I talked about it on Monday, just believing that you can win, that you're good enough to compete. And you can argue all day that, hey, Florida on paper was the better football team. I totally agree. But when you're down 10-0 and with 9 minutes to go in that kind of environment, none of that matters anymore, right? It's who wants it more. And nuts and glory is what showed up on Saturday from the boys. So I loved it. It was good. It was good stuff. But Connor, I want to get your thoughts too. What's the biggest takeaways headed into this bye? What do you think the focus is going to be from the team? Have you heard anything like how they plan to roll through this week and then roll into next week? What's the 4-1 on that?
Yeah, I think the biggest takeaway headed into the bye week is just get healthy. Obviously, you see guys like Trevor Etienne, who was out 2 weeks ago, back for South Carolina, but he didn't look like himself. You could tell if he didn't have to lower his shoulder, he wasn't going to lower his shoulder. He was going to get out of bounds and keep himself healthy. Guys like Trey Wilson, he was back this week, but he had missed time. Get him back in the training room, get him back 100% healthy. And really just, I think the biggest thing is make sure you get everybody back. Offensive line's been dinged up. You saw Cam Waits finally came back a couple weeks ago against Vanderbilt. Didn't really get much time against South Carolina. I think heading into the season, the plan was to start him at right tackle once Goodwin left. And of course, now that you have, Waits was injured before that. But Waits and Goodwin were going to be your right tackles, and I think Damian George was going to play a little bit more inside. He repped a little bit inside during the spring.
Okay.
I think that's where he's more suited. So maybe you take a couple weeks, get Cam Waits back up to game speed. I don't know what it's like because at 6'8", 370 pounds, coming off a torn Achilles is not an easy thing.
Aaron's doing
so
it
I
just
don't know that
fine.
he'll be. I don't know that he'll be ready to go full go come Georgia game in a couple weeks. But if you can get him out there, move Damian George into guard, because with all due respect to Micah Mazuka, he has been a turnstile at guard in the passing game. In the run game, he does some nice things, but he just seems to whiff way too much when it comes to pass protection. And if Florida's going to be able to keep up with some of these teams like Georgia, LSU, Missouri, even Florida State, you're talking about a team that has to be able to throw the football and it has to be able to attack downfield. While the run it and keep these guys off the field is not going to work against some of those teams.
And Lindell Hudson stepped up tremendously as well, too, at right tackle behind Damian George. So if, again, you can get Cameron Waits in there and move Damian George, that offensive line becomes much healthier. I know Kingsley's been out as well, but Jake Slaughter has stepped up tremendously, moving his way up into the top 50 in PFF rankings. So as much as it'd be great to get Kingsley back just from a depth perspective, Slaughter has done a phenomenal job. So it's good to see that we're trending in the right direction in the sense of health and putting guys back in the right position. So, yeah, look, it's going to be a good week. It feels like it came at a good time when everyone seemed to be being banged up a little bit. Mertz obviously has been banged up. We don't hear about it, but my guy spends more time on his back than Steven's mom. I had to get it in there. Sorry. So we'll see how that goes. Look, man. You know what we got to talk about next. It's the hottest thing since sliced bread. Don't do that to me, okay? Don't. You knew it was coming. LJ McCrae. This drama. You heard us. You hopped in the precast and we said two words, and you're like, you must be talking about LJ McCrae because we were referring to his increase in ranking over the past, I don't know, month, 2 months. What was the number that he jumped up over the past month? How many spots on like most of recruiting sites?
Yeah, it depends on the site. 247 just updated theirs the other day, and he jumped up to number 6 in the country. On3 has him now as number 8 in the country. And then the astronomical number that we discussed was ESPN jumping him 270 spots in their latest update. And I think he's somewhere around number 13 or 14 for their rankings. The one outlier being Rivals, who has him at number 249 in the country right now, which will certainly be updated when they do their new rankings I think they do their new rankings at the end of their senior seasons. I'm sure he'll jump inside the top 100 or maybe even the top 50 at that point.
So I know, look, you know, recruiting is never a lock. You always preface that before we go into these things, so you don't need. We're good here, but obviously, as we lead up into this coming on Saturday, which is he's committing. Currently, the time is set for 4:00. So if that is the case, we'll be doing a watch party here, so you guys can come in and tune in for that. That's what 247 says, but I'm obviously subject to change depending on how the day rolls out for him. Georgia has been in it. FSU has been in it, and obviously Florida. I know he put Auburn and Miami, but those two names feel like more just space fillers than anything. And Georgia has seemed to have gotten quiet over the last few days. What does concern me is his massive jump in rankings obviously means that it's probably a Georgia or FSU commit because Florida isn't that blessed for us to have that happen. And FSU fans and Twitter fans have been throwing a ton of smoke and just swinging it around in their confidence that LJ McCrae will be annulled by the end of this. Now we're coming to you, all lights, dun dun dun, right? Connor, can you give us a pulse on what's happening this Saturday? I know it's not a lock. Yeah. I just want to pulse this one.
So I'll push back on your Florida guys don't get bumped. Okay. Because 247 was actually very, very kind in their latest update to several Florida commits. Nasir Johnson moving up from in the 200s to number 74. Amaris Williams up to top 50 player in the country. And then, of course, everybody's favorite guy, DJ Lagway, moved up to the number 2 quarterback in the country in their rankings, number 16 overall, where he was around the 40s, I think. So they helped out some Florida commits in their latest updates. Okay. But as far as LJ McCrae goes, and I can promise you this, nobody has a clue.
Go, nope. Connor. You could have teased us a bit. We need clicks.
LJ McCrae is a seasoned professional at the recruiting game. All of these all the smoke that's coming out, all of this, that, and the other, that Florida State feels good, maybe Georgia feels good. I can tell you there are 3 to 4 schools in this recruitment that all feel good. as of Wednesday, 4 days before he makes his announcement.
Sure.
FSU, Florida, Georgia, Auburn all feel like they're in a good spot to land this kid.
Auburn too, huh?
Yeah, like I said, everybody feels like they're in a good spot to land this kid.
So
Nobody
ask
really
you.
knows what's going on. His camp is not releasing any information. So anything you see, like I know On3 just released some insider intel on the Florida site earlier today or yesterday. 247 with Steve Wiltfong and Zach Blostein released their insider info saying that FSU feels really good and they're in a really good spot for him. But you haven't seen any predictions submitted yet, have you?
No.
Nope.
No Wilt Fongs, as we call it around here, have been locked in yet.
So I will give you a little bit of backstory. LJ McCrae's dad is a 12-plus year college coach at Bethune-Cookman University. He knows the recruiting game. LJ's grown up around the sport of college football. He knows how the recruiting process works. They are not letting anything out. So everybody can speculate as much as they want, and they will. They will up until Saturday, but nobody truly knows what is going on and where that kid is going except for him and his family, and that will be released on Saturday.
So I was just about to ask, what makes him a seasoned veteran? So thank you for reading my mind. It's just why you're an expert here, and I'm just a host. Now, I do want to kind of pick your brain a little bit on where I like the fact that nobody knows. I've prefaced this a billion times. Like, this is how recruiting should be. It lights me up. I hate the crystal balls. I mean, well, obviously we use them, but I hate it. I feel like it's like, what's the point of a big reveal when Wilfong's 98% right? It's like, all right, when he picks it, like, we know you're going there. Like, it's stupid. I like the percentages that On3 does. It's kind of just a feel like, hey, based on our conversations, here's where we're going. What's the reasoning for LJ McCrae keeping it so tight knit? Is it to kind of feel out how, these schools want to continue to pursue him? Like, from your knowledge and your background, what's the reason for keeping it so tight knit?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these kids don't want the information to get out, but for some reason or another, they tell a friend, they talk to this guy, they talk to that guy, and it gets out.
Okay.
And like I said, LJ McCrae's been around the college football game. His dad's recruited people. His dad has been in the industry for such a long time that he knows what's going on. The family knows what's going on. And to kind of piggyback off of what you said, Sheldon, I'm super excited to see where this kid goes because
so fun.
I'm with you. I hate that 3, 4, 5 days before this kid's scheduled announcement, you get crystal balls from Steve Wiltfong, all these guys, and everybody pretty much already knows where they're going at the time of the announcement. You don't get situations like this very often where you've got a high-profile recruit like this where nobody knows, and every school feels good.
I love that.
So I'm super excited to see what transpires over the next 4 days because I don't really think anything else is going to come out. I think it's going to be a lot of speculation, and this young man's going to announce his decision, and you don't really get this kind of buzz or this kind of drama around a recruitment except for on National Signing Day.
Sure.
And even then, a lot of times people kind of know where guys are going. But man, this one to me is very fun to follow and very fun to watch because you really don't have an idea 4 days out, and it's not very often that happens.
This makes recruiting great. Go ahead, Dave.
Sometimes, I was about to say, sometimes during the recruitment, you don't even know who they're going to pick because they pick up like 6 hats. So.
Yeah, it makes the reveal more exciting too, right? Like when you really put on a show, it's like it's just been must-watch TV, and that's how it should be. Again, I feel like that's gone by the wayside. Now, what is interesting because he's gonna have to. I mean, he's not gonna have to do anything, but I would assume On3, who typically Hayes Fawcett drops a graphic 30 seconds before the kid says anything, anyways. Now, I don't know if you know this or not. Does he have those 6 ready? Is in this case?
Yeah, no, I really don't know that answer. I know Hayes typically always has the information early. So if it's going to leak, it's going to leak from him. But I think he's done a very good job of being very professional, never revealing where this kid's going to go or where that kid's going to go. Obviously, he's doing flip commitments, this, that, and the other that people don't really know a whole lot about. So I mean, he could find out. He could be the one person in the high school recruiting industry that knows prior to everybody else. But I do know a lot of these kids sometimes through the process will have people make edits to different schools. So to give you an example, Derek LeBlanc a couple years back had a video done for Florida, had a video done for Oklahoma, had a video done for, I think, Penn State. Had all of them done so that nobody knew exactly where he was going to go, and then dropped where he wanted to go. Obviously, everybody knew before he committed that he was going to be going to Oklahoma. But kids will do that to try and throw everything off, or so that no one person knows exactly where they're going to go. And I don't know that McCrae is doing that for this situation, but it wouldn't surprise me if he did.
This is primetime stuff. I love that. I love your just very neutral, straight up response and the background of why he is so in tune with this and the ability to keep things hush hush. Because again, it's hard to sometimes trust nowadays with a lot of these sites because they're trying to drive traffic from a certain fan base to come and click on it. And they're not lying, right? They're just like, hey, there's some momentum here, and they're not wrong, but it's still fluff because they don't, like you just said, nobody really truly knows. Everyone feels really good about it, which is him having like, look, and I mean, I would imagine all recruiting comes down to where it's pretty close. There's a reason why there's 3 hats on the table. They're really coming down to the wire of like, which one's really giving me the edge here? I mean, talk about Tebow from Swamp King. He's like, hey, I prayed on it the night before and woke up and like, yeah, I'm going to be a Gator. So I'd imagine a lot of these guys are coming down to the wire. And look, I'm sure LJ McCrae probably still has like a pretty good feeling, but could still switch if it comes down to it, depending on what's said in the last few days here. So this is great stuff. Be sure to smash the like button, boys. Almost 400 people in here tonight. Make sure this is Connor Clark. We'll make sure we drop your information so you guys can give him a follow. Always a pleasure having him on. And I always like to mention our very first guest on the show. So this is a classic interview here with Mr. Connor Clark, and it's always a pleasure as well. Now, I do want to pick your brain some more on recruiting because it is the bye week, and I know a lot of the coaches are flying around the state of Florida right now to close in on this big class that we had thus far for 2024. Jameer Grimsley, I want to give you some credit here because that name has been surging lately in talks with Florida. But I think we dropped it here first on High Top Sports, Mr. Connor Clark. You dropped this like 2 months ago. Now, nobody's going to say that, but you threw that name out there when nobody was even thinking about it. Like the day he committed to Alabama, you're like, hey, Jameer Grimsley's still on the list. And now it's humming. So talk to us about Jameer Grimsley. We got Jordan Seaton. We got Zay Mincy, obviously. He's not supposed to commit till I think like January, February. TJ Moore was a name that's starting to come back up around, who's a wide receiver committed to wide. We've got a lot of names that we need to know, but we got to close strong here. Talk to us.
Yeah, I mean, so from the very beginning, Florida really, really liked where they sat with Jameer Grimsley before he committed to Alabama. Obviously, Alabama did a great job of securing that commitment, but Corey Raymond, Billy Napier were never going to stop recruiting him after he committed to Alabama. He's a Tampa kid. He's close to home. So they were always going to continue to pursue him. Now, I'm not saying that a flip is imminent or anything like that, but he's going to be recruited all the way until the very end. His teammate, like you just said, Tampa Catholic, TJ Moore. Clemson kids don't typically decommit, don't typically flip, but that is somebody that Florida's going to continue to recruit. They've got some really good, small, fast receivers in Isaiah Williams, Jere Hawkins, TJ Abrams. They want one of those bigger-bodied guys to go with this class. Obviously, you're going to continue to recruit Jeremiah Smith all the way up until he signs on the dotted line, but I mean, that's pretty much signed, sealed, and delivered to Ohio State unless Brian Hartline decides to leave. So you got guys like TJ Moore. Cam Michael's another name that they really like out of the state of Georgia. I know Georgia was recruiting him at cornerback. Florida likes him at receiver. Several other schools are going to continue to recruit that young man as well. And then, of course, Cam Coleman, the Texas A&M wide receiver commit from Alabama. Really, really good kid. I know Auburn's really still trying to recruit him pretty hard. He's on Florida's radar. I don't know that they're really pushing very hard for him. They like a couple of the other guys as well, and the couple of the other guys are closer to home. TJ Moore was really that guy that Florida really thought they had a great shot for before he announced his commitment to Clemson. Another kind of situation where they're.
We had you on shortly after that.
Me?
Yeah, like it was a hard miss. You were like, that was a tough one. I felt like Florida had a good relationship.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So it was Florida and Clemson at the top of his recruitment. He even named Florida his leader at one point during the process, and then he takes his official visit to Clemson and shuts it down before he even takes an official visit to Florida. So that's kind of the catch-22 where sometimes you do want to be the last visit, but you also want to make sure you don't not get a visit.
Sure.
So it's one of those things that you got to play around with fill out the kid and this, that, and the other. So, I mean, TJ Moore is somebody that I was very high on before Florida even offered him. I was like, man, this is a kid that Florida really needs to get in on. He's a stud, 6'3", 190 pounds, good speed, good route running, great hands.
How big is
Clemson
TJ?
got themselves a fantastic player, 6'3".
Okay. So, and
Yeah.
Jared Hawkins and Isaiah are like this. They're like around the 5'11", 6 foot size.
Dre
right?
Hawkins is 5'9".
Okay, even smaller.
Isaiah Williams is 6 foot.
Okay.
And TJ Abrams is about 5'10", 5'11".
Okay.
So they want to get one of those bigger bodied receivers to
Sure.
go with this really small and fast wide receiver class.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, as far as wide receiver goes, that's pretty much it on that front.
Yeah, that would be huge to again add some size to the sides, because I think Ricky kind of provides that right now. We've got Arlos that has the size as well. Caleb Douglas, he's a big boy. I met him at the spring game, so we have some size there. But look, I mean, Eugene Wilson, we saw what he's been able to do with his speed. And I don't know if you saw the show with Stephen Harris on Monday, who is the coach of Isaiah Williams, who recently received an offer to Texas. I asked him, like, hey, should we be worried? He goes, nah, he's feeling pretty good. So if you want to put that in your notebook, I mean, by all means, go ahead. Just provide some, some recruiting insight for you, Connor.
hey, man. Well, so the biggest thing with Isaiah Williams and why he committed to Florida is because sophomore year he was playing at Wiregrass Ranch with a wide receiver named Bryson Rogers, who Florida was recruiting really hard. He ended up signing with Ohio State. After his sophomore year, going into his junior season, he broke his collarbone. Florida did not back off on his recruitment. They continued to recruit him all the way through that process of his healing from the collarbone, and that was huge for him. He was somebody that was like, hey, listen, I really, really appreciated that Florida didn't back off on me. They continued to recruit me hard when other schools backed away and said, hey, we want to see you as a senior. Obviously, Texas has now seen him as a senior, has come in and offered, but Florida establishing that relationship, maintaining that relationship, and then, of course, securing his commitment has done a fantastic job with his process, and I don't see him going anywhere. He can go take his visit to Austin, Texas, enjoy his time out there, which these kids, and I can't stand the fans that are like, no, these kids should never take a visit after they commit. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. These kids only get recruited one time, maybe twice if you hit the transfer portal, depending on how your career goes. But, man, enjoy the process. Take your visits. Go have a good time. But, I mean, a lot of these kids know that Florida is where they want to be. I always like to use the example of when Chauncey Gardner-Johnson was a recruit at Florida. He was committed to Miami, then flipped to Florida, backed off, then recommitted to Florida. Once he recommitted to Florida, he was locked in. But he went and visited Alabama. He went and visited LSU. He went and visited Georgia. But nobody was worried about him flipping his commitment because he was so vocal on social media. And he was just enjoying his recruiting process, going to Alabama LSU that year, which was the game of the year. He went to like LSU Georgia or something like that. Like he went to some big time games because he wanted to go enjoy football. And a lot of these kids just want to go enjoy their visits. You don't get the opportunity to take these trips out to Eugene, Oregon, Austin, Texas. I mean, Columbus, Ohio is not really a great place to go visit, but it's a cool football atmosphere.
Yeah.
So I will never tell a kid, hey, don't take your visit, or I'll never get mad at a kid for taking a visit, because you get one opportunity to go through this. Let these kids enjoy it. And if they really want to be at Florida, they'll really be at Florida.
Yeah, and I think that goes back, like, we're fans. We love to go to the games. If we can go to a game for free, we're going to take it.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, like, when it comes down to it, it's like I see it all over Twitter, too. People get so worried when, like, a kid takes a visit and all that. But I'll ask you this, Connor. What happens when a kid says, hey, I'm shutting down my recruitment, and then they go take visits anyway? What happens there?
Man, it's high school kids being high school kids. They'll tell you one day they're 100% committed to folding their laundry, and then the next day they'll be like, you know what, I don't really feel like putting my socks away today. So it's just one of those things. It's high school kids, man. They can tell you, and they very well could be 100% committed. Doesn't mean they can't go take visits. They can go take a visit and still be 100% committed to the program that they're committed to. So, I mean, it is what it is. We're talking about 16, 17, 18-year-old kids here. So, I mean, cut them some slack, man. They're just having
when you were
a
kid and had all your girlfriends. You know what I mean? Like, you couldn't stay committed to one relationship. You know what I'm saying? Like,
man, At 23 years old, I got the opportunity to go up and watch Clemson in Death Valley. I'm not a recruit that's getting wined and dined the whole time. So why would I not go do that for free? Why would these kids not go do that for free?
Yeah, it's one of those things. It's like if you got the opportunity to do it, it's like, yeah, my recruitment shut down, but I'm still going to this game. It's a badass game.
Well, think about it. Their entire life thus far has been grinding, working to have the opportunity to play in a big time atmosphere. And then think about it, they're going to go immediately from that year to playing in some of the atmospheres, not all, to hopefully straight to the NFL and never truly get to enjoy the show they're putting on. It's much different on the field than in the fans. I mean, I've never played on the field, obviously, but being a fan at a game is something special too. It really, really is. Obviously, playing is a whole nother level, but I think being able to sit back and just soak it all in, like, it's a different experience. So yeah, it's cool. I think we're all on the same page of like, have fun, go enjoy it. And look, if we are going to be afraid of them going elsewhere, we never had them closed anyways. It'd be like your wife going out to a dinner. If you're worried about her cheating on you, bitch, she love your ass anyways. You know what I'm saying? You ain't doing nothing. You doing something wrong at home if you're afraid of her leaving. Like, baby, go out and get yourself some free drinks. I know you're coming home to me. No big deal. So
Yeah, man. That's the big thing. You wanna get the kids that the big dogs are fighting for, but you don't want to fight the big dogs for them.
Yeah, for sure. Now, Chauncey Bowens is a name that that's been coming back up, and that's, I don't know how people feel about it after he ditched us for Georgia, but I know there's been some big names looking to visit for that Arkansas weekend. Is that a name that we should keep an eye out for, or is that just smoke and mirrors?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just a little bit of smoke and mirrors. I think Chauncey's happy with his commitment to Georgia. He's been very vocal about recruiting other guys to come with him. Would Florida? I mean, I think he would be a great addition back to Florida's class. I thought he was a fantastic player when he committed.
Sure.
And obviously Georgia did too because they worked hard to flip him.
Sure.
But I think he's pretty locked in with the Bulldogs, and I think Florida will look elsewhere to try and add another running back to the class.
You think Jarek's still on that list? Gibson?
Yeah, I think he's somebody you have to continue to recruit. He's a Gainesville kid. They'll recruit him all the way up until he signs, but I think he's pretty locked in with Texas. Someone that they just offered recently, Kawan Lacey, who's a Nebraska commit out of Texas. Really, really good running back. I really like that young man's film. They offered him, I think, about 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Okay.
They're in the process of trying to get him on campus. And if they do, I think Florida's got a decent shot. And then Jaden Baugh is another one that's an Arkansas commit. He is from the state of Georgia. I think he's pretty locked in with Arkansas, but they're still kicking the tires on him as well.
Make sure, I got one last recruit name that I want to toss at you. But Connor Clark, tell them where they can find you, man. Again, it's always a pleasure. I always appreciate you coming on here and always rocking and rolling. Tell the wife thank you again for letting us steal you for half an hour, man. I do appreciate it. But tell them where they can find you.
Yeah, absolutely. Just Twitter, really. Only social media I use heavy. And it's at Connor Clark, Connor with an E, Clark with an E at the end. That's about it, man. It's Fan Nation. All Gators is where I work with Zach Goodall, Brandon Carroll, now Cam Parker as well. And then Alex Shepard. I know you guys always see his photography at the games on Saturdays. He does the photography for our site as well. All a group of great guys. Cam is actually going to be at the Buchholz-Bartram Trail game on Friday night, covering for Kendall Jackson and Miles Graham in a big matchup for them as well. So follow him on Friday to see what's going on with that game, because Kendall and Miles are having fantastic seasons for the Buchholz Bobcats.
Good. So we had Goodall on here, right, Dave?
Who?
We had Zach Goodall on the show, right? Just a few minutes ago. Great guy. Awesome interview with him. He didn't get much love from the Florida fans. I got to be honest. They bring that man the absolute smoke. I've never seen a Gator writer get dragged. The guy's just giving his opinion. Take it easy. But he took it like a champ. I loved it. It was great. The last thing I have. Go ahead.
Take it easy on Zach, y'all.
Yeah, bro, he's a good dude. He's an absolute blast. He asked the question. I love the question. I brought it up on Monday's show. He goes, "Hey Billy, you talked about looking in the mirror and evaluating what happened." He's like, "When you looked in the mirror on Sunday, what did you see?" I was like, "Bro, what a question!
Zach is fantastic, man. I love Zach. He's a great dude. He asks great questions in those pressers. He does a great job of asking the tough question without being
A douche.
Yeah, exactly. I was trying to think of the best way to say it. But he does a great job of asking the tough questions in the proper way to where Billy's going to give you an honest answer. And Zach's great, man. I know we've kind of talked about how social media has gone at him a little bit for his opinions or his score predictions this season or anything like that. But he's a great dude, man. He just lets it roll off his back. He knows it's nothing personal. He's doing his job. He does a great job at what he does. And I'm really, 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 really lucky to be able to work with a guy like that.
For sure.
That's part of like asking questions is knowing how to word them correctly. A lot of people do not know how to do that.
That's why I would never be allowed in there. Like, Billy, wait. One minute you're Billy ball sack, the next minute you're running on a 3rd and 2. Like, what are we doing, Bill? You know, that's the kind of questions I'd be asking. Probably why he hasn't been on the show. Last name, Charles Lester. Look, it's like a lottery ball. Don't do that to me. I'm here for the people. I gotta ask the tough questions here. I don't believe anything. Right? It just feels like it's a massive troll. Like watching his commitment, just nothing feels legitimate. But he keeps saying that we're heavily recruiting him and he's planning on making a visit in December. Do you feel like there's a possibility, or is he just, again, taking the advantage of visiting?
Yeah, so I think there's one contingency on if I think he's if he's legitimately listening to Florida. I will say Florida is recruiting him now. Early on in the process, they weren't super high on him. He committed to Florida State, and for whatever reason, that evaluation changed. Now they really like him. They really are trying to get him back on campus. If he shows up twice before he signs, I think there's a legitimate chance that Florida has.
Okay.
Now, that would be showing up to probably the Arkansas game, and then also showing up to Florida State or an official visit in December. Now, if he shows up for both of those games and an official visit, I mean, obviously the interest is real. And I think any defensive back would be doing themselves a disservice if they didn't at least hear out Corey Raymond. Obviously, we're talking about the best defensive backs coach in college football. I don't think there's anybody that would debate that. Maybe somebody at Georgia or Florida State would try to debate it, but his track record speaks for itself. So any defensive back in the country, if you're being recruited by Corey Raymond, whether he was at LSU, now that he's at the University of Florida, you would be doing yourself a disservice if you don't at least go visit with him and listen to what he has to say. You don't have to go play for him, but I think Lester is doing exactly that. He's hearing Corey Raymond out, and if he does continue to show up on campus for another game and then for an official visit, then I think there's a legitimate opportunity there for Florida. But if he only shows up for an official visit in December and doesn't show up for another game day atmosphere, I think he's just taking his visits.
I love it, man. I love that we can go 40 minutes strong and it feels like it's been 5 minutes. Absolute blast as always. 415 strong, Connor Clark. All listening to you talk because you're dropping nothing but bombs here. Again, we love it when you hop on here, man. Be sure, guys, go follow him on Twitter. He's always tweeting a little pizzazz out there and so often and dropping a lot of cool information about a lot of recruits across the state of Florida. I mean, just dropping knowledge about everybody. So many cool backstories. He's constantly involved with it. Incredible. And again, can't ever thank you enough, man, for being one of our first guests on here and making us believe that we're actually know what we're doing here. So I always got to show thank you and much love, man. Be good and go Gators, man. Appreciate you.
Absolutely, guys. Thank you again for having me on. It's always a pleasure.
Yes, sir.
Thanks, Connor. Appreciate it, man.
And then we have Steven Chad, 420 strong, all going to leave. Hey, guys, smash the like button. I mean, what a beginning start to the show here. 40 minutes in, we're thriving. A lot of great information on recruiting there. I mean, you can't pass that up.
Look, I mean, that's a lot of information to pack into about a 30, 40-minute segment. I'm not going to lie. I mean, the guy is just an almanac of recruiting news.
It's a good word. Dave?
Yeah. Connor Clark is like the recruiting encyclopedia, man. Like I need to learn details about any recruits. I'll either go to him or Mr. Bender there. But I mean, yeah, Connor is he's on top of it all. Like I can ask him about like a recruit that's 2026 and he knows about it. It's insane.
It's just good stuff. It's always a blast, and he's always a good troop about hopping on here. I think I messaged him yesterday. Because, yeah, I got you. So, anybody knows me, I'm kind of hot off the pan, ain't rocking and rolling. But, again, great stuff so far.
Soder just said, I'll see your almanac and I'll raise you an encyclopedia.
Yeah, right.
I just report the news.
Boys and girls, be sure to smash the like button again. Let's see if we get 200 likes tonight before the show's over. I appreciate your love and support. Now, Steve's here, and we know we always roast Steve, but I'm bringing the thunder today because Steve pissed me off this past week with his nonsense. Again, this is what Steve, he's passive. I've always told you this. Don't let the smile fool you. He's a little twerp muffin sometimes. I think you saw my reaction to the game on Saturday. I screamed like a little girl, and I'm not embarrassed by it at all. I posted it. This is my love for the game. And then Steve decided to, I don't know, I guess talk shit and say, how do you act like this after beating a 2-win team? Like he's like above everybody else. This is the great thing about our...
about the team, not
Let me
you.
finish.
I was talking about the team.
This is the great thing about the internet. Steve and I recorded, I would say, probably 40% of our lives. That's always on here. So I have an encyclopedia, an almanac, whatever you want to call it, record of Steve, I don't know, acting here. Here's a clip from a baseball game. Okay, so Steve wants to get mad at the fans for overreacting. This is from a baseball game that Steve has zero clue about because he doesn't understand baseball. But, and I'm not, look, I want to preface this. I'm not making fun of him for how he acted. I encourage how he acted. What I'm pointing out is he's a hypocrite, okay? Because he was going all in for his team, as he should. Here we go. He hasn't seen this yet.
I was on key.
Here we go. Watch. Don't you
the internet never forgets. The internet never forgets.
Don't you ever criticize my boys about how they act and how excited they get about their Florida football, okay?
Lordy, no,
never.
Lordy.
Never.
How much did you have to drink?
Steve was yelling at 5-year-olds. When FSU went up, he was flicking off 5-year-olds. Okay? I didn't get that. Yeah.
Wow.
At a baseball game.
Bad. It was that bad. It was towards the end. It was that bad. I had to excuse myself in probably about the middle of the 7th inning, right about the time that they cut off the alcohol.
This soundbite right here. Look.
Fight for FSU. Fight, baby, fight.
Is from that game. So
that's that. Yeah.
I would like an apology for your obnoxious tweet.
Okay, so hold on. So just to make sure that everything is in context, and I might give you the satisfaction of an apology, but I'm going to make sure that the context of the tweet is understood.
Sure.
I said it's a strange thing for your program to be this excited about beating a 2-win team. That's what I said.
You retweeted the video.
Fans,
you retweeted the video of the team celebrating in the locker room.
Yeah. I mean, that's who I was talking about, the team, not the fans. I love these guys.
With the quarterback coach. But you have to understand, again, too, there's a big monkey on your back that you haven't won on the road. You're down 10 with 9 minutes to go. What are you going to just go and be like, hey, that was a good win? Like, you're going to be a little excited. You have 50,000 plus people yelling at you, F you, doing the Gator chomp. You've got a ton of energy and you're 18 years old. Like, stop it. Stop it.
Oh, I get it. Listen, we're in the Discord giving each other hell 24/7. I wake up at 4 in the morning. I got messages waiting on me telling me how much I suck from the Florida fans in the Discord. So we give it to each other all day, every day. You guys got it from me.
You know I'm like an elephant. I never forget, Steve. The receipts are always
the internet never forgets. The internet never
Well, I know where to pull it from, Steve. Like it's like it wasn't like Twitter found it, I found it.
So you're a well-trained elephant. Fantastic.
Yeah. Thank you.
We just give Steve little love taps in the Discord every now and then. That's all.
That's it. That's exactly it. See?
You're welcome, guys, for having your back there. Real quick. So Spur gives Billy some praise It's funny because, last week we talked about how Spurrier didn't take a jab at Billy, but definitely was like, yeah, man, he could sling it around a bit more. He said this was the best game he's seen Napier call. I think Coach Napier called it the best game since he's been here, and he had to. He had to because the other team was scoring a bunch of points, and maybe that's the attitude. Let's try that again. Let's try to score 40 or 50. If you don't score 50, maybe you'll score 35. That was always my philosophy. If we try to score 50 every week and we come a little short, that's still pretty good. Shoot for the moon, land on the stars kind of mentality. So I love the fact that Spurrier came back and he goes, look, I tell everybody to throw deep. Somebody said, I heard you suggested it. I said, well, yeah, I suggest almost everybody throw more deep passes. Tulsa, my son coaches out there. I said, every time you get a chance to chuck it 40 or 50 yards or so down the field, man, the percentages are with the passing team. So look, I love the fact that he came back on, talked about it a little bit. I joked about it on Monday. There was a picture of Billy taking a snippet in the bathroom of the plays. I said, this is obviously what happened. We kind of joked on Sunday show with Cody that Spurrier was in the press box. This is starting to confirm that he probably was in the press box. He's probably just praising himself for the play call this weekend. If I know Spurrier by any stretch, he's not going to take time to give Billy a pat on the back unless he had something to do with it. So him and Spurrier chatted about it. I always wonder has the question been asked to Spurrier who he goes for on those weekends? Do we know this?
No, not that I know of.
You mean between South Carolina and Florida?
I mean, look, I know it seems like obviously it's Florida, but it was kind of funny. Like when obviously I'm watching the game and South Carolina praises Spurrier like we do. Like he's all over their buildings. Like it's his name. I'm like, guys, like it's second fiddle. Like you're sloppy seconds. What do you do? Get out of here. You look like a desperate girlfriend. You know what I mean? Like I'm not.
He only coached at that school because it was closer to the Masters golf course than it was in Gainesville. That's the only reason he was there. It's just because it was proximity to a great golf course.
How long was he there?
6 years.
He was there for a bit, and he did some good things for him. Yeah.
Yeah, I was there from probably almost
04, 05?
Yeah.
It might have been 10 plus.
Yeah, I think it was 10 plus. I think he left in around 2017-ish, 16.
We all have computers at our tip of our fingers, and we're like,
Yeah, we're over here guessing like we're using old school almanacs.
Yeah,
think about how many times our parents. Think about how many arguments our parents probably got into, or our grandparents got into, where they could never actually agree, and they could never actually find the answer. So everybody would just go to bed mad at each other, right? 10 years. He was there from 2005 to 2015.
I'm a guru. All right,
yeah, I was close. A decade.
I said decade first. Again, be sure to smash the like button. We need 50 likes to get to 200 likes. But this might be the question of the night from John Lee. This is incredible. It says, what's bigger, Holly's forehead or Professor's glasses? Love you guys. Show.
I don't know where the giant forehead comes in. Look, let me just throw this out there. Look, if you do, hold on, it's been on your head all day. All right, look, here's where we're going with this. All right, look, it's called a forehead. He takes it off, and he goes, "Oh wait, hold on, wait a minute." No, let me just break this down. Look, it's called a forehead for a reason, right? It's a 4-finger head, right? If I go and I put this thing right here, check this out. If from brow,
you're getting 5
hairline,
in there. You're getting 5 in there. You're getting 5.
Way.
Yeah, your angle's bad.
No, look from brow line to hairline. That is a 4-finger. That's a forehead.
Hey, you know insecurity set in when Stevie in the bathroom. He checked that before he came on the show because he wouldn't have done that.
He's like, no.
I mean, it's not even 4.5 fingers. I'm talking like that is right at 4, baby. Come on now. Is he? What is he using? The metric system?
Oh, well, look at it this way. You got a better hairline than I do, so don't worry about it. There you go.
You guys have the same hairline. He just has more hair. You have the Sid hairline, but he just has more hair.
Oh boy, this place never ceases to amaze me.
Look at this. Callie's spot on. The fact that you know this, Steve, suggests you have a 5 head. It's definitely been a topic of conversation. Steve at dinner, he asked the wife and kid, like, hey, guys, is my forehead big?
Wait. Am I measuring it properly?
Oh, geez, I can't. You can land a space station on that thing. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Do you remember that wrestler, Al Snow? And he's like, what does everybody want? Head. That's him.
What kind of wrestling have you been watching?
The professor goes, "How do I get roasted on my day off?" Like literally, bro. Like,
Dave, have you been watching midget porn wrestling? I go, where did?
how do we go for 40 minutes strong with Connor on here? We have a full, well-ran show. It's back and forth, football knowledge being dropped, and then he leaves, and we immediately just go into talking about the size of foreheads and head. This is awful. I don't understand how people even watch this show.
Okay, so back in the day, in 99, 98, there was a guy that had a mannequin head that would come out, and that was his motto.
This is why nobody likes the show. This is why we don't get enough likes. All right, let's go back to football. Let's keep it moving here. FSU versus Duke this weekend. I haven't looked into ACC football because who does? The Duke quarterback is out, right? He's hurt.
Yeah, they haven't come out and said it. Mike Elko hasn't confirmed. He's still calling it day to day. But look, I mean, that was a nasty injury that he got at the end of that Notre Dame game.
Could return.
He could. Yeah, look, I mean, if you want to give the guy, a huge tape job and a shot of Toradol in his ankle and risk him just tearing the hell out of it, potentially he could be out there. But you and I, Shelton and Dave, you've certainly been a part of these conversations. Vegas doesn't miss very often, and Vegas has this set at a 2-touchdown game. Something tells me that Vegas does not believe that they're going to put that quarterback out there to play the game. So if they're leaving this at a two-score game, they believe that quarterback's not going to be the guy that trots out there. I think their second string guy is pretty much locked in to be the starter this week against FSU in Tallahassee, which is going to be interesting because I don't think that Duke's football team has ever played in an environment quite like they're going to see on Saturday. I just don't think that they're going to be used to that.
God, I hate your cockiness. Yeah, look, I was excited for Duke versus FSU, the quarterback being out. Even if he does play, and again, it could be like the Cam Rising situation where they're going to just teeter-totter it along for the week. And why wouldn't you? I mean, try to utilize it and get into FSU's head as much as you possibly can. I think playing at Duke is a massive advantage. If it was in Duke, I would like Duke a lot more. If the quarterback does play, do you like to see the spread change a little bit? And if it does, what do you think it changes to?
I mean, considering even if he plays that he's not going to be 100%, and a big part of his game is the ability to pull the ball down and take off. The kid's faster than hell, and he's extremely athletic. So if he plays and he's 80%, I could maybe see the line swing into a 7, maybe a 9.5 point game. With it being in Tallahassee, I mean, I don't see it going anything less than 7.5 negative FSU.
So and look, this, I mean, I'm taking a little bit of a shot, but not really. FSU hasn't looked lights out yet. The LSU game, I felt when I watched that game, and I said this, I felt like, man, they looked like the best team in the country. I also had LSU very high on my list. The second half FSU team looked exceptional. We haven't seen much of that as of late. I didn't watch the game against Virginia Tech you guys played this past week, right?
Syracuse,
and then Virginia Tech the week before.
Yeah.
Didn't feel like I needed to, but I think you guys played much better against Syracuse, found a little bit of a rhythm. Virginia Tech, it was not close, but we made it seem like a close because it was Virginia Tech. They were worth like a touchdown for a quick second. Look, I mean, if there's a game, look, we always say, what's going to be the FSU game? Where's the game that they trip up? I think we circled this game early on. We talked about it being a possibility. Clemson was my one, which you guys tried to, but you didn't. This could be the new Wake Forest of this year. Do you feel that way, or are you feeling hella confident you're steamrolling and Florida scares you more than this game?
Florida 100% scares me more than this game. Duke's defense is very good. They're very good against the pass. I think they're only giving up about 140, 150 yards on average per game. But I just don't think that they've got the depth to go 4 quarters against a team like FSU with our ability to rotate, especially the defensive line, the depth that we have there. I think, especially with our ability to move guys in, move guys out, and keep a fresh rotation. I'm less worried about Duke than I am about Florida because I know Florida does have that level of depth to where in the fourth quarter you've got guys with fresh legs that are still moving, as opposed to dragging around 14 pounds of sweat because they haven't been able to get off the field. So Florida's absolutely is more nerve wracking for me, obviously because it's a rivalry, but it's also away, and I believe that Florida's more talented. I think Elko's done a great job with the talent that he has in the production that he's been able to get out of Duke. But absolutely Florida, even Miami, to be completely honest with you, scares me more than Duke does right now.
That game, Miami is where? Is it at Doak?
It's at Doak, yeah.
Okay, that's enough about FSU. Whew, that was exhausting. Look, should be a good game, though. I'm excited. It's at 7:30. I'm not going to have you pick right now because we're going to get into that for our Pick'em show where the spread's in there, so no need to get into it right now. Next up, we have Beamer Ball. This was just hilarious. This we have a tweet, too, that's going to preface this a little bit more, but the guy is an emotional roller coaster. It's must-watch TV. The moment a mic gets in front of him, you have no clue what he's going to say. So Lane Kiffin says some wild shit, but it's like poetic, right? Like it's like poetry in motion watching Lane Kiffin talk. This is like literally like you're watching a car crash happen. You're like, they ask a question and he just goes on a tangent. It's like, that's not what I asked, but thanks for your answer. It's wild. And then he breaks his foot because he kicked something out of anger. And I got to give Jake Crane credit because he dropped a video today on Twitter. And they said, look, his problem wasn't the fact that he kicked something because he was mad or that he broke his foot because he kicked it so hard, because we all know that person, myself included. You know how many things that I punched over my adolescence years of just being pissed off for no reason? It's been a long time. The last time I did it, I had my wisdom teeth pulled, and it just felt very weird. I felt like they screwed it up, and I was a little drugged up, and I just unloaded on the door frame, which was not a good idea. And at that point, I was like, I got to stop doing this, because then my hand hurt for like 4 days afterwards. It was not functional.
I vaguely remember this.
It was brutal. I was just so pissed because I felt like I couldn't eat.
You were so frustrated.
And I was like, it felt like they messed it up because I was like loopy and I couldn't feel my mouth the right way. And I was like, I shouldn't even have done this. And I was whole thing. And Jake said, look, the issue was that he came out and said, I kicked something and broke my foot because I was mad. You don't tell people that.
The best part is he kicked a Gatorade cooler. He lost to the Gators. He kicked a Gatorade cooler and broke his damn foot.
You don't tell people that. You're like, I rolled it. I rolled my foot walking out of the house, out of the bathroom. I slipped out of the shower, right? Like, just got done, banging your mom and I slipped. Like something like that's what you say, right? Like that's what you do. But God, what a goofball.
Well,
but then he comes out with the aw shucks mentality about it. It's just,
Dave.
Go ahead, Dave. Sorry.
I was about to say, Shane Beamer needs to worry about kicking more ass and breaking his foot than kicking Gatorade things and losing half his toe doing it. And at the same time, man, like, what are you doing? I know Pruitt, he kicked like a board, but like, what are you doing? Like, kicking something you're going to break your foot on. Like, it makes no sense. And then you go into the presser and you're talking about that, and then you ramble on for about another 20 minutes, and it does nothing. Like, all those South Carolina fans want him gone, like, so bad. It's like, I made a tweet earlier today. I said, Dan Mullen broke a podium and got fired. Shane Beamer's going to break his foot and probably get fired. Every time somebody gets fired in the SEC, something breaks. Do you notice that?
Who was it? Muschamp that broke didn't he put his hand through a whiteboard during a halftime?
I love that though. That's different.
That was.
Yeah, I don't mind that.
No, it's look, the passion is the passion. The problem is that if you're going to be passionate like that, you're going to break things. You got to be able to win.
Yeah, use it the right way.
Break things. You can't break things and then come and sit down at your presser and just begin to have that. Oh man, you're never gonna believe what I did.
Throw a fit.
Boy, everybody make sure you're sitting down for this one because it's gonna be funny. Nobody thinks it's funny, dude. You're losing. You're getting your ass kicked. Like, and you're breaking yourself. Like, you look like an idiot. It's one thing to be passionate. It's one thing to be like just ready to rip somebody's head off, but you break your own damn foot after losing a game, and then you come in there and you have like just basically like the all shucks. Everybody's going to get a big kick out of this. No, dude, they're about sick of your nonsense. They're about sick of your mentality and the way that you're approaching this season. It's not winning you over any fans right now.
I like his spunk, but it's like to the point where like I'm exhausted watching him. Like I'm emotionally drained watching his interviews. Like, how does that translate into the locker room? Like I don't know.
It's like watching the Real Housewives of whatever random city, and he's like all 5 of the housewives all packed into one body.
It's awful.
Just the roller coaster of emotion. Just
this is the thing to me. It's like you're a grown ass man, and you're supposed to be like teaching kids the right way to do things and all that. You're acting like them in front of them. On top of that, you're acting like a child in these press conferences. Like nobody, like what parent sees that and says, "Yeah, I want to go play for Shane Beamer."
I don't know. They have a pretty healthy class right now too. We'll see how much it stays in attack after he might break a couple more feet.
Probably a pretty healthy NIL deal that they got going with it too.
Yeah, break some more feet. So look, I know we talk college ball in here, but this piqued my interest. And look, the conspiracy theories I usually stay away from until it drags me in. A perfect example of that was the recruiting saga of Florida recruits dropping rankings when they commit to Florida or vice versa. And I always ignored it because it was just Twitter noise and people and fans just being fans, it felt like, until we had that scenario where DJ dropped and a few others dropped when no games were being played. And that's when we had the interview with Shannon Sharp, because I was like, yo, this is something's up. Like this is just weird. And that's when I finally was like, okay, I got to look into this. What happened?
Sharp.
Huh?
Terry.
Same thing. Another situation has happened again with an NFL plant, is what they're calling it, which is this Chargers fan from Monday Night Football that was going absolutely berserk. And it was so crazy. Like, you expect it from college, not the NFL. It was absolutely just mayhem watching this unfold. Now, the reason why we're talking about it, because there's layers to this thing. I saw it. I turned a blind eye. Whatever. I go on TikTok. Who else has the interview with them? Pat McAfee has an interview with her. So I watched the interview because I was like, oh, all right, like this is dope. Like he's gonna settle it right here. The interview was a little sus, and I'm gonna play that in a minute here. And then it gets dicier. So let me play the interview, and then we'll come back. There's layers to this thing. I gotta know how to explain it because it's so crazy. Let me play it first though.
Did you know that while you were there, assume somebody had to tell you, like, hey, you are a part of this game now, or were you so locked in?
You know what's funny is we go to a ton of games. They always get me on the Jumbotron because I am freaking nuts, right? Whether I'm in my seat or in the cabana, they get me on the Jumbo, but I've never been on TV. I never expect to be on TV. So then I'm just cheering, and I hear, like, I wear a watch, and I'm like, it's buzzing, but whatever. Like, I need to watch this freaking end of this game, and I'm buzzing, and then somebody comes up to me from the field, and they're like, do you know you're on TV? And I'm like, no, but we need to get this. We need to get this. We need to get this last touchdown. He needs to get in there again. We need to win this freaking game or tie and get into the freaking OT. Like, what? Sorry, excuse my language. But yes, like, get in there. Let's do this. And so I had no idea until at the end. And then I'm like, okay, why do I have these text messages? And then I realized, oh, okay. So I get home. My kids are like, Mommy, you were on TV. And I'm like, okay, this is too much. Like,
all right. So they're selling it here. Like, if you look, she's got a jersey on. She's got 15 Charger helmets behind her. I don't even think that many rendition of Charger helmets existed, right? So, like, it just feels like very forced. Like, hey, this is real. And I was like, all right, interview's a little cheesy, but I'm not going to look too much into it. So I was like, all right, no big deal, right?
The one thing I will say about you pointing out that it was suspect, and we watched this for the crowd, for the people in here. We watched this in the pre-show, like the precast, when we're kind of getting everything together. That's the first time I saw it. Shelton said it felt like that interview just had something off about it, right? And I didn't see it the first time. Now, watching it the second time right here, here's where I can almost see that there's something wrong with it. Is because when she's saying, no, I'm into the game. Like, right now, we got to get that. We got to get, this thing. We got to get in there. We got to, hold on, honey. You don't know the terms. You don't know if you're trying to get a first down, a touchdown. We're got to get this thing to overtime. Like, honey, you're not using football terms, but you're this passionate about football. Like, what you trying to go for here? If you were that into the game, you would have known exactly what scenario was going down when this guy came up to you telling you that you're on TV. Yeah, but we're trying to get the thing.
And you can kind of dust it off to nerves. I don't want to be extremely critical because not everybody knows, right? Like,
see it.
But it just
probably like, she goes, I was just trying to get him to tackle the field goal. Okay.
That's what it felt like, right? Like, what do I say here? So then it comes out this right here, and we're going to go back to Pat because he was kind of flabbergasted. And I was like, when I saw this, I was like, dude, it's like one of those, like, it just feels like what's happening here. Watch.
Yesterday, we might have been used. We had the incredible honor to chit-chat with what we thought.
Oh, wait, I'm not even showing it. Sorry.
Incredible honor to chat with Marianne Doe, who is the Los Angeles Chargers super fan. She got a lot of airtime on Monday night. Then she came on our show on Tuesday. And I want to let you know, we fell in love with Marianne.
Yeah.
Veins were popping out of her forehead because she was so intense about the Los Angeles Chargers. Then the internet does what the internet does, which led to a Pro Football Talk article. Over the top, passionate LA Chargers fan admits she's also a fan of the Minnesota Vikings, too, while soaking up every ounce of attention coming from last night's viral moment. I actually clicked on the article here because I was like, oh, I feel like I've been used here. I feel like I've been part of this entire thing. So Florio's article leads to the rest of the internet going, caught red-handed. The Chargers fan that went viral last night for her celebration and reaction is a paid actor, it appears. Now, Mike Florio never said she was a paid actor. Florio was alluding to the fact that she was just looking for the attention. But after talking to Marianne Doe, we all loved Marianne Doe. We actually got some information from some people that potentially set up the Marianne Doe connection for us that said, what are you talking about? Her kid plays for the Vikings. You don't think she just gets all jacked up for her kids? Well, yes.
So, okay. Interesting. She says she's been a Vikings fan for 20 plus years. I was like, okay, that's fine. I can somewhat support that, right? And then it follows this where this guy, I'm not going to play the whole video again because we're kind of rambling here, but here, just read what he said.
Austin Connor, of all humans, decided to chime in on the internet and go, I usually would ignore a fake story. However, this lady is too good of a person to let this slide. Her son plays on the Vikings in his local league. So guess what? Not only is she a real Chargers fan, but she's a super mom who went all out for her son's football game, wearing face paint and spending money to get a real Adam Thielen.
That's fine, but that's not what she said. She said she was a Vikings fan. Like, it doesn't make any sense. And the reason why I even brought it up today, because it's just wild, and it's just like, if it is fake, if it is a planted fan, why? For this? I don't know. Like, it's just crazy to me. Like, with the internet nowadays, like, we try to spin all kinds of crazy nonsense. This one just feels dirty. It felt something's off.
It feels like when you have that, like,
she would have mentioned the fact that her kid played for the Vikings, right? Like, I'm a huge Chargers fan. I'm a huge NFL fan. You know, like, there would have been more of a story to be had aside from, you know, I just wanted them to get that thing. We got to get that thing.
Dave?
Yeah, it's like when you're, if you want to compare it to social media, when you got like that one account that has like that avatar picture on it and you just act like a maniac, that's pretty much that.
Yeah.
Put a plant in the crowd to have her go.
Just a troll. Yeah, burner account to get routed. It's a burner account. That's what it is. That's a burner account.
It's a burner fan. Burner fan.
Oh, dude. What a time. All right, boys, let's hop into our next segment, our final segment. But we got one more. But obviously, our MyBookie, our pick'ems of the week. I'm not happy to show you this scoreboard here, ladies and gentlemen, but this segment is brought to you by MyBookie. Be sure to to make sure if you're going to blow your money, blow it at mybookie.ag using the code HIGHTOP. Look, I took on a new betting strategy last week, and it paid off for me. I got away from the degenerate stuff. I didn't do any parlays, stuck to my guns, went with absolute locks. Didn't hit everything, but I'm up. I'm positive. We're up big right now, boys. Okay. I took some advice, settled down a little bit. Bama screwed me. They should have covered 20. They did not. Oregon, I got cocky, took money line, should have just took the points, would have pushed, would have been sitting on an extra 50 bones cheddar, but I'm not. I'm planning to re-execute that this week and see how I do and keep this train rolling. But nonetheless, make sure you guys go to mybookie.ag and use code HIGHTOP. I'm in last place behind Dave. I was sitting on the couch putting this together, and I just went, ugh. Wife goes, what's wrong? I go, I'm losing to fucking Dave in pick'ems. And she started laughing. I was like, this I'm down bad right now. Shut up, Steve. I'm too emotional with it. I know I am, and I can't. I'm better at picking the NFL because I don't have any emotions. Remember, Steve, when we did pick'ems, the year that I won because of the NFL, not because of college.
NFL, yeah.
But it's atrocious here. So we're gonna just move on. I'm not gonna. It's still close. I'm not out of it yet. It's still very close. Wait a second.
I don't bet a lot on like I'll do parlays, but I don't like bet a lot on just like single
rubbing
games.
It in.
No. It has nothing to do with that. The South Carolina game, wasn't that 2.5?
The spread, yeah.
I bet you everybody was pissed when Mertz ran in that safety.
Oh, it still wouldn't matter. If it was 2.5, it was still two. You still would have. The -2 wouldn't have got it done. But if it would have been 1 point, yeah, that's true. 2.5 doesn't make a difference.
What was the final score?
It was 41-39 because they got a safety. So him getting the safety didn't adjust the line is what I'm getting at.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Like if it was 1.5 and he did that, then yes, that would have been a huge safety.
Okay. I didn't know what.
I mean, if you took, okay. So South Carolina was favored in that game.
Yeah. So if you took, well,
oh, okay. I thought it was the other way around. I thought Florida was favored. So that way, it wouldn't have mattered anyways because South Carolina was favored. So they were -2 that anyways. If it was the other way around, yeah, whatever. We're getting too much. Yeah.
All right. So first order of business, we've got Dave. You're gonna go first since you're beating me, piece of shit. Penn State versus the Buckeyes. I believe it's in Ohio. The Buckeyes are favored. I forgot to put a plus. I'm pretty sure they're favored.
Yeah, go ahead and look that up. I would assume that they were favored to be negative.
Like 90%, 98% sure. They are favored. Ohio State's favored, yes. Sorry.
I'm picking Penn State. I think they're going to come within that 4.5. I think they're going to give Ohio State a game, too.
Steve?
At Ohio, we went through Penn State's record earlier before we kicked this thing off. I think I'm going to go with Ohio State. That game against Notre Dame, I think it shows me that Ohio State's better against bigger talent. I'm going to go with Ohio State.
We hear the Penn State story every year. I think they're a good football team. I just don't think you're going to go into Ohio State and get it done. I think Ryan Day is on a mission to prove Lou wrong from Notre Dame. And I think Michigan's going to be who takes down Ohio State once again, but it's not going to be Penn State. And 4.5 is nothing. It's going to be probably, I would think 10 or plus more, to be honest with you. Steve, you're up, buddy. Next up, we got Bama versus Tennessee at Bama. Bama's favored by 8.5.
Oh man, 8.5. That is just right in the sweet spot of ugly. I am going to go with Bama. I do not like Tennessee. What they did against Texas A&M is an absolute just abomination of football to win a football game with one offensive touchdown and still come out victorious. So I'm going to take Bama with the 8.5 at home.
Bama's going to obliterate Tennessee to where they might have to go to a D2 school. Dave?
Yeah, Alabama's been so up and down like this year.
Dave's going for the gusto.
Picking Alabama.
Oh, you are?
Yeah. I just don't trust Tennessee as much as a up and down Alabama.
Okay. You were talking all that shit precast. I just thought for sure. All right, Mizzou versus the Foots. See what I did there? Mizzou's favored by 7.
Boy.
I think they're going to limp their way by. See what I did there? And take down South Carolina. 7 points is a lot, though. I'm a little nervous on that. I felt like, but Mizzou handled business against Kentucky. Now, I think it's a different South Carolina team, but they're just battered. Now, this could be a game, though. I would like for South Carolina to win, to have 2 losses for Mizzou, because as a Gator, we control our destiny right now to the SEC East. And anybody who can take more losses in front of us is just beneficial in the sense of, for Florida. So I'm taking Mizzou.
Oof. Leggett versus Bird. Let's see. I'm going with Mizzou too. This is so they're giving South Carolina 7, which makes it really, really hard because they both have pretty good offenses, I would say, for the most part. I just trust Mizzou's offense a little bit more than South Carolina and their full potential as a team. And Burton's been a monster back there, so I'm gonna, definitely hit Missouri.
Stevie?
Yeah, I'm taking Missouri as well. I actually like them. I think their offense this year has been pretty good. And I think at home, it's not going to be a weather game. I don't think there's going to be any ugly Missouri weather that's going to throw South Carolina off. I think it's actually supposed to be pretty nice out there. But I'm still going to take Missouri at home.
Okay.
I don't like South Carolina.
Hey, guys, we need 18 likes for 20. So if you could just show some love, or 200 likes, I'd really appreciate that. Dave, Ole Miss or Tigers?
I'm going to go with Lane Whiffen, Ole Miss. Think they have enough of an offense to, and I know Auburn's played some pretty good defense this year, but I think they got the offense to overcome that negative 6.5.
Stevie?
Joey Freshwater all day, baby. I'm taking this.
I went for Auburn last week. It burned me, and I think Ole Miss mimics LSU, and LSU rolled them. Just offensively, they've got a super powerhouse there. Auburn defensively, I thought would hold up better against LSU. They didn't. And Ole Miss, I think, is better than LSU, so they're going to roll. Clemson versus Neil U. Steve?
It's at Miami, but that doesn't mean anything. I'm going to say that Clemson can finally get their shit together, and they're going to be able to cover and take care of that. I'm going to go Clemson. I hate the Tigers, but Clemson.
Dave?
Yeah, I'm going to go Clemson too. There's reports of Tyler Van Dyke possibly hurt. I think it's his right leg. I don't know how the extent of that injury or not, but even if he does play, I think Clemson's defense will be good enough to beat him with that -3.
I don't know
I heard it was
where
his feelings.
Cristobal must have some photos of somebody in Vegas, because how the UNC game was 2.5 was just completely and utterly disrespectful. I told everybody on Saturday morning, put your 401k on it. Middle of the Florida game, my uncle calls me, and I'm like, what? Because I thought it was something important. He's like, would you bet on UNC? I go, I put my 401k on UNC. What are you talking about? He goes, that's what I thought. I go, yeah, I'm busy. And obviously they got it done. That was one of the games that I knew was an absolute lock. Like, that's just disgusting.
Yeah.
For the fact that
they had Tez Walker back. Tez just
what are we
went
doing?
Off. Tez was
Like, what are we doing?
The time that they threw that ball deep to Tez, and like the Miami defensive back was doing everything within their damn little power to try to keep up with him and make a play, and they were just out there just flailing around, looking like they hadn't played before. I mean, he just went bananas on that secondary.
In Clemson, I know that they have 2 losses, which is uncanny for Clemson, but the 2 losses is against the best team in the country, which is FSU, and then Duke at that time, which was on a hot streak. So it's not like they're a horrible Clemson team. Like, they're still Clemson. Like, they have way better talent than Miami, and there'd be 4 people there at Miami.
If they had not turned over the ball so much against Duke, and then actually they could have beat Florida State too if they
they could have won both those games. Yeah, 100%.
Their quarterback had better awareness of people coming after him. But yeah, I still think Clemson's a good team. So yeah.
Steve Knowles, I'm taking yes.
Yeah, Knowles. A lot of people don't know this, but Duke has only played 1 away game all year, and that was at UConn. So this is going to be only their second away game of the season. And it's going to be at Tallahassee at night, top 20 team. Duke is not ready for that environment. Give me FSU all day.
Yeah, look, I want to be wrong here, and I want to go with Duke. 14's a lot. But look, I just think that FSU's offense is too much. And look, I hate to do this, but I've got to be smart here with my pick, because I can't get to. We don't even have we all pick the same except Penn State so far. This is bad. This is not good. I'm gonna actually, you know what? I'll take one for the team. I don't care. I'm gonna do it. I'll take Duke, because it's a win-win. If Duke covers,
make up some ground.
Yeah, because we're splitting hairs right here. Maybe I gotta get better at picking these games to where we can be more split. But yeah, Duke's QB healthy is questionable. We don't know John Wilcox, so I'm gonna take Duke. I don't hate this pick. It's just a little sus. It's a weird number. It feels like a lot, but it doesn't at the same time. So I'll take Duke.
Yeah, I'm going to go Florida State just based on the fact of the quarterback situation over there at Duke, and I think Jaheim Bell goes off for like 20 yards.
And 4 touchdowns. He'll have Keon Coleman stats. 4 touchdowns, 12 yards.
USC -7 against Utah. Now, I talked to our buddy Austin. He's a big USC fan. He said that they've circled this on their calendar because they got absolutely ass-clapped twice to Utah last year. USC is dead to me. Caleb Williams can paint the Mona Lisa on his fingernails. I am not picking USC until they give me a reason to, which they have not. You got absolutely bent over against Notre Dame. You looked like nobody out there. You barely scored 20 points. I don't think you did score 20 points. I think the scoreboard just kept putting points on the board to make it seem reasonable, but it wasn't. Utah is going to embarrass you. They are your big brother. They're going to bully you again. Nate Johnson, Bryson Barnes, myself at quarterback, does not matter. Utah by a million. They play defense. I know USC doesn't know what that means. USC's dead to me. They had everything going for them. USC is done as a program. They are trash. They're done next year. They're gone. Caleb Williams will either go to the NFL, which he's claiming that he wants 1% of whatever team drafts him. You have the biggest prima donna I've ever seen on your football team. You are atrocious. You are the laughing stock of college football. I'm taking Utah.
There you go.
I wasn't quite sure where that was going. I just thought you were going to go Trojans there.
That was close.
Right on the cusp. All right, who's up?
Yeah,
Dave. Sorry. I got look. You have no clue.
You got a little raw.
You have no clue. You have no clue.
I think Caleb Williams is now a one-man show at quarterback, and that defense is terribly, terribly terrible. I'm picking Utah with +7.
You're giving me points against an atrocious team like USC? Like, what are we doing here?
Yeah,
That's
Dave?
ridiculous. USC is getting credit for the name, not for anything that we've seen on the field. There's no chance in hell I'm taking USC. Give me Utah and a defense all day against that crap offense that I watched this weekend.
I think I just sold all of you guys on Utah. You're welcome.
There was no shot I was taking USC. USC had that was their first real game of the season, and they looked absolutely lost on the football field.
Piss me off, bro. You have no idea. I don't know if I made that clear or not. All right, boys. Our last little bit here. Sorry, I got a little distracted there. Tweets of the week brought to you by Manscaped. Dave?
Fellas, you can smell the pumpkin spice in the air. If you haven't heard, it's fresh face fall, and nobody else can give your face the love it needs other than our friends over there at Manscaped. The folks who changed below your belt are here to help you with your brand new Handyman electric face shaver, designed to give your face that smooth finish without the mess of a wet shave. It's the perfect tool for men with all beard lengths, whether you're lining up your neckline or taking it all off to feel that autumn breeze. Make sure to join the 9 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with our exclusive offer. Head over to manscaped.com and use promo code HIGHTOP20 to save 20% plus free shipping. Don't be a bad apple this year. Choose Manscaped, the ultimate best in men's grooming.
There it is, boys. Keep your balls cleaned.
Well, I feel like, just for the record, I feel like from last week to this week, the Manscaped pitch went from something that you may have to show ID in order to hear to this week. This week there was like a little Disney feel to it. You know what I mean? Like maybe not G-rated, but certainly PG, where like the 7-year-old could get in if he needed to.
Yeah, I was a little more proper this week for you guys.
Look, baby, look, it's the 10 o'clock hour is the witching hour, baby. You can get crazy.
We got 3 minutes. 3 minutes. Easy.
Yeah. We gotta let this thing drag on so we can get a little raunchy on
the witching hour. Season watching too much Red Zone. Hey guys, before you go anywhere, don't leave after tweets of the week because we have a lot of announcements coming up. We've got some big things for Florida, Georgia. We're gonna have a massive tailgate, and we're gonna have our joint boys come on here in just a moment to talk all about it. Stephen Harris is gonna be there. Pouncey brother. It's gonna be great. I don't want to talk about it just yet, but don't go anywhere if you guys usually dip out after tweets of the week. So first tweet of the week is FSU, which I love here. Welcome to Keon country. What a catch. So Keon had his own Ricky Pearsall, tried to live up to the hype, didn't get it done. And FSU football, trying to give their credit to Keon, posted a clip of him, of not the catch, just a bubble screen, and then fumbling the football. This isn't real, is it?
Yeah, it's real.
Yeah, they posted they fixed it, but yeah, they posted the wrong thing. Now look, let's just be honest. He did catch that ball though.
He did. That's incredible that they posted the wrong clip. Look, to be fair, I can't really criticize. We've seen the blunders that I posted, so who am I to say?
I've seen multiple schools do that, and then they delete it, and they're like, "Oh crap, posted the wrong clip."
I mean, why would you even have that clip saved?
The internet never forgets.
Why would you even have that clip saved to your phone? I don't get it, or just in general. All right, next up, I'm assuming I'm going to click play here. Am I going to? Wait, how bad is this, Dave?
I do not know about all of that.
What do you mean? You sent it to me.
Is this the Spaces? Is this the Miami Spaces from this week?
Here, I got the censor button ready.
Another 60 seconds.
Here we go.
Here we
go.
go.
Ahead.
Hey, hold on. I ain't been trying to come up for damn 2 hours. Get his man 2 seconds so I can throw him back. I say give him 2 seconds so I can boot him back down. Let me hear what the hell he want to say. What's up, man?
That was all he had to say.
That is incredible. What a troll. He set it up too. You can't teach that. That was good. This right here, guys.
Let this man say what he has to say.
This is when you know that the NFL is scripted. He never tore his Achilles. It's all fake.
No, the point of that is like Aaron Rodgers is throwing on a torn Achilles. It's like, yeah, he's using his arm. Not using his Achilles.
Yeah, but like you usually aren't like walking or look. He's dude. You can't tell that he hasn't torn Achilles. Like,
got
it's
a giant
impressive.
boot on. I mean, don't get me wrong, yeah, but I mean,
which foot?
like,
Which foot?
okay,
okay. How about this? How about this? If you guys want to troll, which foot did he tear?
his
Oh
left.
hell, I don't.
Yeah, you don't know. That's the whole point here. He looks smooth as butter over here.
Well, so did
Oh, it's just right.
Cam.
It's on our left.
It's impressive. All right, we're not gonna play this whole video here. This is incredible. I'm pissed you didn't pull one from our boy Paul. I think is his name, the Gator guy that posts incredible tweets. I thought for sure you'd have one of them, but this is incredible. It's just a troll on Shane Beamer. We're not gonna play the whole thing because it's good. But Dave tweeted like 19 times if you want to watch the full thing.
As a head football coach and the leader of this football program.
Dealing with some emotions right now. What are you experiencing?
It wasn't some magical scheme they came out with tonight. They got 5-star recruits everywhere, and they play really physical.
Are you kidding me?
My second point is this. Shane Beamer has got to grow up. He acts feminine and emotional and childish. You ever been in a relationship with a woman who's constantly up and down emotionally? It's exhausting. You just can't keep it up all the time.
Sorry.
Cycling out.
Oh,
We don't care. We don't care.
I'm not going to be on an emotional roller coaster every single week.
Proud of these guys, man. Like, for all they've been through this past.
I mean, dude, it's gold. It is absolute gold. Like that's just perfection at its finest.
Every emotion.
Not going to be on a roller coaster. Not going to be
love
on a roller coaster.
So Miami Hurricanes Tyler Van Dyke has a right leg injury. So our drug boy here, he may let me know that he's a Miami fan, so he's not gonna appreciate this one. This is another important injury update, and then Jim Bob says, "How's he going to take a knee now?" and then this clip too, just kind of like double down here. The guy limping around. Oh my gosh, this is cold.
Can't take a knee with the back.
This is incredible. I didn't watch Monday Night Football or Sunday Night Football, but these are always
this is
great.
awesome.
Yeah, take a listen.
This is great.
Justin Pugh, straight off the couch. Justin Pugh, straight off the couch.
So left guard Justin Pugh obviously was just picked up off of the waiver wire, apparently, and let everybody know. That's incredible. What way to take advantage of an opportunity there.
Yeah, he had a torn ACL and missed an entire year, and then he didn't get picked up by a team. So he had spent basically an entire year on an NFL roster on the IR. He didn't get picked up. So he had been literally out of football for 2 years. So when they said, "Where are you from?" Straight off the couch, baby. He'd just been sitting back watching TV.
I love it. This next one's gold. It kind of reminds me of Steve at the baseball game.
Falcons.
If that was me and he was yelling at me like that, bro, I promise you he would have hated him. I would have not just turned around. I would have been mocking. I would have got my ass beat. Let's just put it that way. I would have pissed off the entire. This is why I don't go to opposing fan bases, because if we go in and we win, you're going to hear about it. I promise you it's going to be miserable. Probably for me too, because I'll get my ass beat. But that was gold.
And see, this is the problem I run into all the time. Is like that kid was just reporting the news from up there. That's all. He's letting them know the score.
Maybe from that elevation, the guy had just a bad sight line to the scoreboard, and he wasn't able to see it. He was just trying to help. He was just trying to help.
That's it. That's
all right,
it.
Dave, let me let you go for real quick. I'll bring it back for us to go, but let me bring in our Drug Boys guest here. This is some cool irony here. So I don't know if everyone's aware of what's happening. So Steve, I showed the video of you at the baseball game earlier today. Yeah. Nobody knew this was going to happen. At the baseball game, remember who rushed the field?
Oh my goodness!
This is the crew.
What's going on, boys? What's going on?
Talk about full circle, bro.
Holy
here we are.
Moly, what is going on, my man?
Setting up a little party. I told him.
Hey, so we made it.
Hey, I gotta say, first off, I gotta ask, how family friendly is this show?
Have you not been watching? We just had a full ad talking about balls.
Listen, put some fucking respect on Tyler Van Tutty's name. Get Miami out of the shithole. Go Canes. My dogs are literally eating my dinner right now. Please hold.
That's amazing.
All right.
I mean, they suck. I don't.
No, yeah, we're terrible.
Okay.
I get it. Yeah, okay. But I mean, Duke plus 14, dude. I dabble on the other side of the house. If you want to donate some money, shoot me a DM after the game.
Who do you like?
I mean, between that game, I'll probably take FSU minus 14.
Oh, you think I'm crazy for taking Duke? Then I'm shooting from the hip here. Well,
Yeah,
you heard what I said. I had to make a comeback.
I know you had to take one for the team, but
I'm working here. I'm working.
That's free money right there. I'll take that all day. I got rent.
Well, I'll be sure to have that.
I have to ask. Has there been any more storming of any fields?
Yeah, they did it in the Jags, and we had them back on.
Yeah. So we've taken on minor league baseball and the NFL now. TIAA Bank Field is where Rockets trespassed from, and that name expired at the beginning of the season. So, if anyone knows a good lawyer,
we're back.
Look, I hear there's an Iceman game on Saturday.
I'm shooting from the hip here. He'll probably kill me if he sees this video.
Look, I remember because we had you guys on. TIAA Bank put you guys in a blender.
It was bad.
You were running off the high from the Jumbo Shrimp game when he rushed the field. Just for people that are new here, he rushed the FSU Florida game and escaped. Got away with it. Hopped the fence. Yep. He was the local town hero, and I was like, I gotta get this guy on. We got him on here. I think we got him late a few times too. That's neither here nor there. Yeah. We don't have a tally, but I think we were an assistant. We got an assist on our scorecard for that. Yeah, which we appreciate. And then he did it for the Jaguars. The following party was not as exciting. It was like, hey, we can't really talk about it. It's not going well.
Hey, you want to air it out right now because everything's in the past, and he doesn't know I'm on.
Oh, we're clear. We're clear of the lawyer talk.
We want the inside tea. Y'all are going to be first to air with this info.
Yeah. So when we had you on, like you guys were in the middle of, just so everyone's aware of this. If you go back and look, you can probably look it up. What's his name again?
Ethan Rocket.
I was like, should we say this? Ethan rushed the field with a football, and can I say everything? I can say everything, right?
Yeah. Okay. Go for it. Yeah.
He lathered himself up in Vaseline, right, to make it harder for him to be tackled. In jorts, by the way, mind you. And Buddy ran from the goal line to goal line, like through the football players and everything, and got tackled like a badass. Like they full blown tackled him, like he's like falling over and everything. It was a phenomenal shoot. And there was somebody else who recorded it, and I'll let you go from here because I don't want to say, I don't know what I could say. Obviously, you said it's over.
No, yeah, I'll full send it. What are they gonna do? Fire me from the Jort Boys? I can't go to jail. So,
fuck his career. I don't care.
Yeah, Ethan Rocket is the same person. I'll bounce back and forth between names, but Rocket pretty much doesn't watch sports whatsoever. For as ripped and jacked and athletic as he is not a sports guy. He's a car junkie. That's how he spends all of his days. He calls me and says, I want to streak the field. And knowing him, that's not really surprising to me at all. It's not like, bro, what are you doing? It was like, all right, go have fun. And he's like, well, I want you to be there. I'm like, I am not going to be anywhere near that stadium on that day. So he's like, all right, whatever, fuck it, I'm going. So he calls me from the stadium, and he says, he goes, all right, I'm going to need your help getting, like, I don't really know what I'm doing. I made it here, and that's as far as I thought I'd go. We had this whole elaborate game plan where I found the section on TV that had two pretty out-of-shape security guards sitting right in the end zone. I was able to track it down on the map, and I told them, this is the section you're going in. So he makes his way over to that section, and he's just hanging out there for the majority of the game. And the goal was for him to run in the middle of an extra point. That way they would have to guarantee him TV time. I was like, if you try to do it during a dead ball or something, they're just going to cut away. So this whole thing was planned out. I was like, the players got to be on the field for you to do this. He said, okay. So I said, if they get down to the 1 yard line, prepare to jump the fence. And towards the end of the third quarter, the Jags are driving. They get down to the 1 yard line. He's like, all right, I'm ready. And we hang up. And I felt like the little black kid from the Kim Possible Disney cartoon back in the day that like lived in his office back when FaceTime was just a fantasy. That's what I felt like. So I have my TV up and I have my iPad open. I'm tracking it live by live, live play by play, making sure the 30-second delay is not affecting me. And they get down to the 1 yard line. I said, when they score, it's showtime. He's like, all right. And I have to explain to him how the one team comes off, the other one goes on, special teams, the kicker, all that. He's like, all right, I think I got it. He hangs up. The fucking quarter ends. Jags have to go 99 yards to the other side of the field. And he's like, dude, he's like, it's over. I'm not going to do it. I'm like, all right, just hang tight. Stay in there. I think Jags end up scoring. Raiders get the ball back. I was like, okay, if the Raiders do it, you go. Raiders punt. Jags get the ball back. They punt. Raiders get the ball back. About 4 minutes left in the game. And I'm still on the phone with them. I said, all right, here's new game plan. Because Vegas sucks. If they punt, we're going to get you on while the ball's in the air. And he's like, I have no idea what that means. I said, all right, look for the kicker. When you see 4th down and whatever, like that's when you need to get ready. He's like, okay. So I'm watching on TV. They don't convert on 3rd down. 4th down comes out. I said, this is it. When you see the ball go in the air, it's your time to shine. He's like, all right. And all of a sudden, I hear the crowd go wild in the background over the phone. And he goes, I'm doing it. Bye. And hangs up. And then all of a sudden on TV, you just see him all the way down. And I think Mike Tirico gave him a little shout out for running on the field. But yeah, it was a very well thought out, elaborate plan.
In the police, I mean, he was treated like shit. I remember him coming on the show. He messaged me on Instagram. He's like, hey, turn the Jags game on. I'm about to go. Yeah. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, what are we? I haven't talked to this guy in a year from the last time he streaked.
Legend. Yeah, it was literally just about a year.
And he reaches out, like he remembers to go, hey, I'm about to make it happen. And they took his phone away. I know he got arrested, stayed the night. That was miserable. And they were really trying to make a mockery of him. Did all that kind of pan out, or did he kind of get away with it?
So yeah, he ended up getting a good attorney, and the judge and court showed their kindness. So I mean, it definitely cost him a pretty penny. But other than the trespassing from the Jaguars, he's pretty much sky and clear. So we're happy all that's in the past.
Well, until this interview goes out. But
right, yeah, and then he'll be back in. Funny enough, so he gets out of jail. You talk with us. He has to go to court a week later for them, and they're pretty much hyping him up. His attorney's like, dude, we're getting you out. You're done. Like, you're going to be scot clear. He thought he was walking away a free man that day. He shows up to have his shit dropped. They rearrest him on the first streaking of the field at the Shrimp game and then trespassed him from that. He had to spend another 36 hours in jail.
They had receipts on him for that?
Dude, he showed up and he was like, all right, I'm ready for my punishment, judge. And they're like, they just, like a fucking substitute teacher, just click play on the TV screen, and there he is running across the field at the Shrimp game a year prior.
They play our interview?
Yeah. They're like, was this you? And here's Sheldon in the middle of courtroom 5.
Did we get an extra sub? Did the judge at least sub while he was there?
Yeah, I mean, we gave you a shout out.
What in the world? No way.
Yeah, so 2 arrests came. He really thought for about a month there that like his life was completely ruined. So once he probably checks the DMs and realizes that I'm on the show and goes back and watches it, he'll probably kill me. But legally speaking, everything's
yeah, I mean, he can't, unless he decides to streak in a couple weeks. I mean, I think he's good to go.
Yeah, I mean, look,
at a field not called TIAA Bank anymore, and not at a Jaguars game. That's all I'm saying. Somebody gave me a good attorney.
Look, the first regular season game for the Icemen is this Saturday, and it's down there at the Jacksonville Memorial Arena.
Don't Steve. Don't. We don't need to be part of the premeditating this. Don't stop it.
I'm just. He has been wanting to try an ice thing, so we'll see. I guess it depends on how much money we make at this tailgate. Might be worth it.
So if he go ahead, Dave.
If he does go back to court, just say, hey, I was just trying to report the news on the field.
Just trying to get inside information.
Right.
All right, man. So talk to us. There's a massive tailgate that we're going. I'm going to pull the photo up here now over Steve's head while you talk.
Yeah. Sweet.
Happening during Florida, Georgia. I mean, Major Wright's going to be there.
This is why you and I have been talking, Sheldon. Man, I'm so excited for this event. And to all the viewers out there, I'm assuming if you're like our guys here, you're Gators fans for the most part. We have been lucky enough and blessed to connect with some of the best Gators of all times. Actually, thanks to our guys over at High Top Sports, we are bringing in even more celebrities now. But we are throwing a tailgate. It's a $75 all-you-can-drink, all-inclusive tailgate, 21 and up only. No need to deal with the frat kids. It's available. Tickets are for purchase at www.jortboys.com, and that's boys with an I. The link is on that flyer. You can follow us on Instagram. High Top Sports is promoting it as well. So if you want to find the link, you will be able to. But celebrity-wise, we are bringing in the Pouncey twins, Major Wright, Lavernius Coles. Even though he's a Seminole, he wants to party with us. Joe Hayden just announced he's getting inducted into the Ring of Honor at the game, so he will be at our tailgate. Carlos Dunlap, who's coming off a Super Bowl win, he will be at our tailgate. And then High Top Sports here is bringing in Stephen Harris from the 06 team, who's rolling with his guys, Kyle Johnson, Brian Crum, a few other guys. If you guys have ever watched the championship Gators team, you will recognize the people that are there at this party. And they want to party with you guys. So
it's going to be a blast. I'm going to be there live streaming the event. That's how we linked up. I said, hey, let's put on a show. So it's from 9 to 3, right? Game
9 to
3:30.
Yeah, we'll have the best bartenders in Jack's Beach out there pouring up. We've partnered with a local distillery who's providing half the alcohol, and then the Pouncey twins themselves are providing the other half of the alcohol. So, I mean, we are not rolling light on this one. We are going balls to the wall. Everyone will have enough to drink. I promise you that.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm pumped. I appreciate you guys having me. I'm glad that I reached out so many years ago for a streak in the field.
Definitely.
I'm glad we were there to make this relationship kumbaya. So,
absolutely. You guys are day ones. So we appreciate you and always being supportive of us and what we do. And I'm looking forward to finally getting the two worlds to collide here.
It's going to be a blast. Like I said, we've tweeted it out. Stephen Harris tweeted it out. So you guys, if you want to go to check out the link, there's a QR code on another photo, I believe, that Stephen Harris tweeted out. Go get your tickets. Scoop them up. I'm sure that they're a limited supply, right? I mean, we can't be 2 balls deep in there.
Yeah, I mean, we have a pretty fat capacity, but I think you have about 400-something viewers on today. We could definitely fit all 400 if they wanted to buy tickets. So,
Cool. I know a lot of fans are –
Sure, we're looking forward to it.
Awesome. Yeah, we'll promote it obviously all week and then next week as well. So, I mean, come hang out. Come say hey to myself, to obviously the Pouncey brothers, Stephen Harris.
Dude, I'm going to be hammered on your tailgate show. Absolutely.
I can't. I wouldn't expect anything less. Is Ethan going to come on and talk all thing football?
100%. That's what we do best.
Only if he has his shirt off. That's the only because I wouldn't recognize him if he had it on.
Listen, I'm the only Jort boy that's required to wear a shirt at all times anyway, so.
I love it.
I appreciate it again.
Gentlemen.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely, guys. Yeah. We
Be
really
good, man.
appreciate you.
Good to see
Yes,
you.
sir. Good night. Thanks for hopping on, Bob.
Take care, brother.
That's how you close off a show.
Jort boys, baby.
My
gosh. I feel like that was one of
our
our first celebrity interviews ever. Is when we got Ethan on here after that move.
That was huge. You're gonna go, Dave?
I wish. Got
You don't have to wish. You can actually come down.
Yeah.
Well, I got to go to another Halloween party, but it's not going to be as cool as that one. So.
Did you just have to go to a Halloween party?
Yeah. I work with a DJ.
Is the game on Halloween?
Is this thing on?
It's that weekend.
Golly.
Well, it's always that weekend.
Oh, Halloween weekend is what I meant. My bad. Sorry. Yeah.
Oh.
But anyway.
Oh, jeez. Well, hey, guys, great show. 300 strong for most of the damn night. We cracked 200 likes. I mean, you can't beat that. I mean, shout out again to Connor Clark, man. I feel like that happened yesterday. It feels so long ago. Man. You guys be good, though. I love you. Stay safe this week. Obviously, Saturday, we're going to have our college game day show at 9:30. Make sure you guys tune in for that. That show has been a bumpin'. And then, of course, our Sunday college recap show. That show did phenomenal numbers this past week, so I really appreciate you guys tuning in for that. I hope you enjoyed it. The professor will be there with his thick glasses, so if anything, just come say hey to him and myself and stop by and drop a like and smash the sub button. We're on the way to we're less than 400 subs away. It'd be nice to hit 18,000 before Florida, Georgia. Big ask, but if you don't ask, you don't get it. So love you guys again. Be sure to, again, like and subscribe. Love you, boys. Until next time, I'm Sheldon.
I'm Holly.
Oh, Jesus, Dave.
And
You're still muted. All right, boys, be good. I love you. Seat tight. Don't let the bed bugs bite. Boogity, boogity, boogity.